Hello, and welcome to Unliving the Lie, a podcast where we delve deep into the insidiousness of narcissistic abuse and domestic violence. I'm your host, Candace Renee Moon. I am a writer, a DV survivor, and a trauma-informed coach. I work with adult men and women to help them find happy, healthy relationships after abuse. Today's topic is a really important topic, as you see in the title, Surviving the Narcissist Smear Campaign. The narcissist smear campaign can be so traumatizing, but it doesn't have to break you or ruin your life. The smear campaign my biological sister launched against me almost 20 years ago was one of the most painful times of my life. My sister stopped at nothing when I went no contact. She spread rumors about me, attempted to steal clients from me, and told anyone that would listen that I was a liar, a whore, a lazy employee, and that I had destroyed her business. She tried to convince friends that I was mentally ill, and at one point that I was cheating on my husband with an old friend. It didn't matter that most of these people didn't know me. Her wounded ego needed relief. It was very important for her to maintain control of the narrative. She had to make sure everyone knew her version of why I quit working at her salon and went no contact. Her very survival depended upon her coming out looking clean. She wanted to win, so she spun her tales so her faux truth could prevail. And this smear lasted 15 years. We had went into business together. I mean, it was ultimately her salon, but I brought over all of my clients and I was like a partner. But she abused me the whole time. She became an egomaniac. And I didn't realize at the time it was abuse. She's my younger sister. I didn't know it was abuse. I just knew I couldn't do it anymore. And I completely took all my clients, left, went somewhere else, and totally went no contact with her. And to this day, I am no contact, except when I see her at family functions, or any, things, and we exchange pleasantries. But it was a traumatic time in my life. So why does a narcissist have to smear your name? Why do they do this? When a narcissist fears public humiliation, they go on an intensive and methodical offensive attack. They cunningly reverse the role of perpetrator and victim. They blatantly share their bogus injuries with anyone that will give them the time of day. They deliberately misrepresent their victims and will use social media to spread their falsehoods in a stunning display of audaciousness and cruelty. When smear campaigns are waged by an injured narcissist, they're usually like a gale-forced storm. The narcissist becomes so wrapped up in doing damage control to protect their false image, they actually believe their own lies. The narcissist is committed to his truth, which I say in quotations, that his lies may not be conscious. So their brains are distorted. They have distortions. The sickening and scary part of a narcissist when they're injured and they're smearing you to anyone that will listen, they believe they are victims. Narcissists don't take accountability, and this is nothing new. We know a narcissist doesn't take accountability for their abusive behavior. If you ever try to talk to them about it, what do? We know what they do. They flip the script. They use Darvo. They reverse. They go on the denial. No, I didn't do that. You don't know what you're talking about. That's not what I meant. And then they go on an attack. Oh, you're just crazy. What kind of person goes in the computer and looks up emails and spies on me? You're crazy. You're mentally ill. And then they reverse victim and offender. I just can't believe you. I've been really trying to work on myself, and all you want to do is sabotage me and attack me and tear me down. You just love drama. So this is what they'll do. They do this in the relationship. So when they're smearing you, that's what they continue to do. And in their sick heads, they're victims. They reverse everything that they are doing to you in a smear campaign. Everything that they're doing is basically what you are exposing them for. You're exposing them for the lies and the abuse, and you told them no, and they're flipping it. Everything they're doing is a projection. Everything they're saying about you is a projection of themselves. So if they're accusing you of cheating on them in the relationship, or stealing from them in the relationship, or lying about them in the relationship, or never trusting them in the relationship and having mental problems, that's themselves. They are talking about themselves. So we already know when a narcissist talks, they're confessing to their self. And when they are confronted with a wrongdoing, they go crazy and they become injured. So a narcissist will never go quietly into the night when you leave them or try to break up them. They will attempt to burn their victim and anyone that challenges them to the ground. They never get tired of the smear campaign. They simply do not. They love it, actually, because it gives them supply and it puffs them up. It puffs up their ego and makes them feel better about themselves and gives them relief from their narcissistic injury. And so when they're lying about you, taking different stories and smushing them together in an attempt to create and support their false narrative, they get joy out of it when people listen to them, because it makes them feel like they're right. It gallivants them to continue going. The narcissist is masterful at playing the victim. Often, the smear campaign is unwittingly facilitated by others who wrongly go after the victim at the behest of the narcissist. These individuals are what pop psychology will call flying monkeys. Okay? Smear campaigns leave those on the outside very confused as to who the real victim is. And this is exactly what the narcissist depends on. Most of the flying monkeys they employ are individuals that don't even know the victim and were never present during the relationship when the narcissist was supposedly wronged. So these are anybody, the minions, anyone that the narcissist gathers up. And a narcissist can be so cunning, even during the relationship, they're subtly preparing their smear campaign. When they're triangulating you with your friends and your loved ones, that's a smear campaign. That's how they're starting it. They go around during the relationship when you think everything is normal, and they're planting seeds with everybody. They're setting up their flying monkeys. So when you finally do leave them, or you finally do confront them for cheating and you divorce them, they can use their flying monkeys to try to hurt you and try to make you look like you're insane and you're crazy and you have mental problems. My first husband was a religious narcissist, and when I divorced him, he told everybody that something was wrong with me and I had gone off the deep end. He called my relatives. He said a whole bunch of horrible things to my relatives, that I had lost my mind, and told them a bunch of hideous lies. And fortunately for me, my aunt and my grandfather that he contacted didn't believe him, but they were very, very upset that he would say such things because he put on such a good act for everybody. But they will try to plant seeds and start the smear campaign early in the relationship so that they know they've got everybody on their side, because everything is a game for a narcissist. They need to be seen as perfect at all times. And when you dare challenge them or question them, they suddenly feel like they are not good, because that black and white thinking, they apply it to themselves as well as you. So when you confront them for something, or you tell them no, you reject them, they get injured, because then they become afraid that their mask is going to be ripped off. They don't want to face that inner shame. They don't want to take responsibility. And the only way that they see that they can survive and to protect themselves is to attack you. And they're prepared for it at all times, because they're always on guard, trying to prop up their false image. And that is all that they care about, is protecting that false image. And once you start seeing them for what they are, they view you as a threat to that false self. And the smear campaign is like the culmination of it all. It's like the ultimate way that they try to protect themselves because they are terrified of the narcissist collapse. The narcissistic collapse happens when they've run out of flying monkeys and they've run out of support and they've burnt all their bridges and they become very, very dangerous. They can either go into a deep, dark depression and feel sorry for themselves like a vulnerable narcissist will do and play victim, or they will go into a narcissistic rage and be injured and launch a smear campaign. So smear campaigns leave people on the outside confused because people that don't know you, because a narcissist will mirror you. Like I alluded to it a few minutes ago, that everything that the narcissist is accusing you of doing is what they are doing. And they will actually mirror you. They will mirror things that you're saying. They will say, if you have told everyone they cheated on me and that's why I left the relationship, they're going to say, oh my gosh, she was cheating on me this whole time and I found out. They'll actually have the audacity to say that. They will have the audacity to word for word tell everybody what they actually did and say it was you. That's the maddening part. But that's what they do. And so people on the outside, especially if it's a romantic relationship or a friendship, people on the outside, mutual friends, have probably never seen this side of the narcissist before. They've never seen the true ugly person that they are, like you know. So they're confused because they may think, well, I love both of you guys. Why can't you just work it out? They don't understand it's abuse. They don't understand you're being abused. And many people will try to shy away from you. And that happened to me. A lot of my friends shied away from the situation with my sister because they didn't know what the fuck to do. They were confused and couldn't understand why my sister was being so hateful and smearing me and just making up lies about me and being a hypocrite. But later, in the middle of the smear campaign, when I had reconnected with some of my friends, because I was afraid to contact my friends because I thought, oh my God, they're going to be influenced by her. She's telling everybody all these lies to try to ruin me, like literally ruin me. And I found out that they didn't believe any of it. They knew she was full of crap. They didn't listen to any of it. But I didn't know that. So the people that love you are going to be on your side and not believe the lies. But then there's always going to be that group of people that just isn't sure and they don't know. And those are the people that the narcissist is going to seize. They're going to pounce on. And they repeat over and over because they're trying to make it true. And in their distorted minds, they've lied so much that they actually believe their own delusions. Narcissists are delusional. They live in a fake world. They don't live in reality. And the rest of us on the outside can see how absolutely insane it is. But a narcissist is cunning. This is how they live their life. We don't live our lives like that. We don't live our lives manipulating and lying and constantly having to run around and do damage control to protect our false ego. That's what a narcissist does, and that's why they're so good at it. That's why they're so good at smearing, and they have no conscience. They don't care. They're very good at exploiting people's weaknesses, and they will feed the ego of a potential henchman and groom them meticulously to follow their orders. It is all a game. So they are actually coercing and manipulating and abusing their flying monkeys. They're conditioning them. The narcissist is going to use the word smear campaign and survivor in an attempt to sway their audience. Remember, these people are cunning predators, and they're very adept at mirroring true victims in an effort to keep up their false mask of innocence. So they'll try to say, as you're defending yourself and showing the receipts, like you have the receipts of them cheating, you have all the evidence, you may even have the person that they cheated on you with defending you, speaking up for you, and they're going to counterattack and say, you're smearing them. You're attacking them. You're harassing them. See, they're insane. That's what they're going to do. But you're standing up for the truth. You're standing up for yourself. This is a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. Yes, your voice should be heard. The truth should be heard, and the truth will always come out. But it's a double-edged sword to defend yourself because that's what the narcissist wants. They don't, like I said, they don't get tired of the smear. We get tired of it. It's exhausting. They never get tired of their smear campaign. They will go for years and years. They never get tired. And they've told the lies so many times that they've actually convinced themselves that they're true. The narcissist needs control. They need to have complete control in all situations. Control offers protection for their fragile ego. The narcissist has no objectivity, and they're not going to take the chance that the real truth would come out and expose their egregious sins. Beneath the surface, the narcissist struggles with deep shame and no inner sense of self. They have a profound sense of fear and loneliness that they bury underneath their false picture of grandiosity, and they are pathologically terrified of rejection. That is why they do the smear campaign. That's why they do it, and they will continue to do it because they are determined to protect their false image, because in their minds, they cannot exist without their false image, without the false self. The false self is their protection. They protect that false self above all things. And that false self hates their inner true self. That's the shame. They hate that part of themselves. They're terrified to face that real person. They will never admit or take accountability for anything that they do. And if you dare try to hold them accountable by showing the receipts, showing the evidence, they're going to just go full force at you. But like I said in the beginning, you can survive. You can survive a smear campaign, and you can survive it and not allow it to destroy you. Instinctively, you want to defend yourself. You want to rectify all the damage that has been done behind your back. It's natural and it's a valid desire. However, it really isn't going to do any good. It's not going to make the narcissist stop. In fact, it's going to make them want to continue even more. In some cases, you might be able to fight back with legal action. And if you can prove that your livelihood and professional reputation has been damaged by their lies, the legal avenue may be genuinely needed for you. Like if you can prove actual defamation is very difficult to prove and it's very expensive. But if you have the financial means and you have evidence, if it was a business relationship, you can sue them. With my sister, she tried to do that with me. She tried to steal clients and ruin me, but it wasn't enough. Like only one or two people. She didn't really affect me financially, but it was more mentally. The rest of us that don't have the financial means and we don't have enough evidence to take to a court like where we can legally prove. Now, they probably have done a lot of damage to us professionally, but the legal system is not really a justice system like we think. It's just a legal system. And if it's not going to fit into legal evidence, most of us probably wouldn't be able to do it, and we probably couldn't afford it. So we're going to need to fight our natural impulse to react. And that's what they want. That is what they want. The narcissist will feast on your reaction. They love it. They count on it. They want that reaction. If you argue your case with one of their flying monkeys, the narcissist is completely exhilarated. They absolutely love it. And many times when you argue with them and go back and forth, you tend to make it bigger and more inflamed. And it does tend to make you look bad to people on the outside that don't understand what's going on. The people that on the outside that are saying, well, you guys used to be so close. I don't understand what's going on. Why can't you guys go to counseling or just work it out? They don't understand. There's no going to counseling and there's no working it out with an abuser. But they don't understand that the narcissist is an abuser because they've never been a victim of a narcissist. Without realizing it, when you fight back, you're actively contributing to your smear campaign by energizing more stories to them to continue using. The narcissist knows as long as they can elicit a reaction, they retain power and control over you. The more you push back and show your outrage at the narcissist's evil agenda, the more ammunition you give them. Your righteous anger tends to lend weight to the lies that the narcissist has spread. So be careful with that. Your anger can give weight to their accusations. They can point at you and say, see, she is mentally unstable. Something is going on with her. Something's wrong with her. And to a person that isn't very perceptive to narcissistic abuse, they may agree with the narcissist. They're going to be frothing at the mouth as they point fingers at you. They're going to say, oh my God, see? And rather than trying to convince anyone that you're being defamed by a narcissist's pathological rage and envy, you end up supporting the narcissist's false narratives about you. That's really what happens when we try to fight back with a narcissist smear campaign. Remaining silent and steadfast is a powerful message to all involved. When you don't respond, the narcissist recognizes that their enchantment that they held over you is broken, and they have lost all power and control. People that are hearing the rumors and slander will eventually realize the conflict between your composure and dignity and integrity and the picture the narcissist has painted of you as a mentally ill, abusive monster. They're going to see that. They're going to see the conflict in how you truly are as a human being as opposed to what the narcissist is saying. And I have seen that over and over again. My former mother-in-law, which I have talked about on this podcast, was a flaming narcissist, and she did smear me to family members, her family members, my husband's family. She smeared me to people. But I have since come to realize, because I have felt nervous around my husband's family, but I've had occasions where I'm around them at family events that I'm still invited to, and my son, because my son, it's his family, we are still invited to, that nobody has treated me oddly in any way. And it still makes me nervous because in the back of my mind, I still think, what the fuck did she say about me? Because I know she did. But I believe that they know the truth. They wouldn't continue to invite me to family functions if they thought I was this horrible, toxic person like my mother-in-law tried to say. And I think maybe her family knows more about her narcissism than I even realized. They just don't talk about it because she's deceased. But they've seen the conflict between my composure and my dignity and integrity from how she painted me. They see the difference. There may also be those that stick with the narcissist. Those people are probably narcissists themselves, and unfortunately, there's nothing that can be done about that. It's like the new supply. Like, I have warned the new supplies, and I don't feel guilty about it. I don't regret it, but I also understand that, you know what, if they don't heed what I say, there's not a damn thing I can do to really, truly help them. You feel shaken to your core when you are the victim of a smear campaign, and you are actually re-traumatized. Because this isn't a random stranger going after you. This smear is being perpetrated by someone you cared about or loved at one point. And it hurts like hell. It really, really hurts. Yes, this can happen with a person that's not someone that you love or care about. It can happen on social media with psychopaths and narcissists that use social media to get supply. There are many narcissists in the survivor community on social media posing as victims because they truly believe they're a victim and their actual victim is their abuser. I've seen that because the evidence will always come forward. The narcissist will always expose themselves. Even when they're trying to pretend to fit into a DV community and calling themselves an advocate and pretending to advocate for survivors, what they're really doing, they're spending all their time attacking and smearing DV survivors because the DV survivors are starting to see that this person's not right, and they'll start asking questions or they'll start calling out behavior. And that person that's claiming to be a survivor, that's truly a psychopath, is going to get injured and is going to react, and they're going to cyber stalk you, cyber bully you, go insane, and they're going to launch a smear campaign because you dared to injure them. So it doesn't always happen with just close, intimate relationships and friendships. It can happen in online spaces. And we live in the digital world now. And since COVID, there's many, many online spaces. And so in those online spaces, narcissists will lurk. And in fact, they love it. It's their playground. They can go in and pretend to be anything that they want. But when they're in a community of survivors, people that have survived a narcissist or a psychopath, we tend to see things. We tend to sniff them out rather quickly because we're usually hypervigilant, and we tend to sniff them out. And when we get together, we tend to be able to stand together and say, no, something's not right with you. What's going on? Like, look at this behavior, and we call it out. Well, the narcissist doesn't like that. There's currently a psychopathic social media stalker on a social media account, TikTok, that this woman uses legal abuse to punish other survivors. She has taken them to federal court to sue them and financially abuse them, to punish them for questioning the weird things she had on her website. There were sketchy things that this woman was doing on her website that she claims is her nonprofit, and she's here to help survivors, but she never helps anybody. All she does is smear other survivors that question her. She never helps a single person. She doesn't do anything good. She's on this app to get supply and to play the victim, when her true victim, it's similar to the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing. Her victim, her ex-partner, took her to court and sued her for defamation and won. She had to remove his name from her book. I say book in quotations. And she had to remove his name from everything because she was smearing him. And he had enough evidence that she lost and she had to pay him. But true to her narcissistic form, she still, like Amber Heard, doubles down on her lies and says, no, I'm the victim. He's my abuser. And continues to attack people that question her. Runs smear campaigns. So smear campaigns will happen in social media communities, and they will happen a lot. Cyberbullying, stalking, gang stalking, gathering flying monkeys on social media and destroying people. It's very, very prevalent on social media. I just spoke of one that I have experienced, but I have seen many others, and it can be just as traumatizing, if not worse, because our world is connected through technology, and they will use it as a tool to smear and abuse. So you're going to feel shaken to the core. You're going to feel angry. You want to defend yourself. And me telling you to remain stoic, steadfast, and be true to who you are sounds like a grim and frightening. It sounds grim. Because it sounds grim because you're like, okay, so what am I going to be able to do? You're still recovering from emotional abuse. But at the end of the day, you know the truth. And eventually, the truth always comes out. Truth cannot be hidden. It doesn't matter how hard a narcissist tries to repress truth. It doesn't matter if they stand there and double down, even though you have court documents, you have deposition transcripts, evidence of this person being a cold, black-hearted liar. And they're standing there doubling down. No, I'm a victim. I'm the victim. You abused me. The evidence says otherwise. So even though the evidence proves, they're going to still double down. But it doesn't matter. My point is, I digress. They can double down all they fucking want. When you have the actual tangible evidence, it cannot remain hidden. And there's going to be some crazy people that stick with the narcissist because they're a narcissist as well, and they're getting narcissistic supply with the narcissist by attacking you. There are narcissists like that. They will latch on to a bigger narcissist and help them with their smear campaign because it puffs them up and it makes them feel important and powerful. Those people, there's always going to be people like that. But at the end of the day, you know the truth. And if it's documented, if you have evidence, in my case, my abuser couldn't smear me because I had actual evidence of his physical abuse and jail. There was so much legal evidence that I had of his abuse. He did smear me. He did lie and try to, make up things, but none of it held weight with anyone in our life because everybody already knew what he was. But there are those narcissists that are very cunning and they're very good at playing and putting on that mask. They can get a lot of people to turn against you because they're master manipulators, and this is basically what they do for a living. They do it so much. But the truth comes out. I understand this may be of little comfort now, but I would recommend seeking the help of maybe a support group, a coach, or a therapist to help you get through this time and to understand you're not alone. And silence is your friend. That speaks so many volumes. Let them keep running their mouth. Let them keep spiraling. They're going to trip up on themselves. They're going to get their lies because it's going to happen. They take stories and they mush them together. They'll take two different events and try to mush them together. They're going to get tripped up. And then wise people, they're going to start to see the narcissist imploding and they're going to start to come around to the truth. And if they don't, they were never your people. They were never your friends. And I know it hurts, but you're not alone. You can get through this. You are not alone. And if you want to reach out to me, I have a lot of free content on social media. I do work one-on-one with people. If you need support, if you're going through a smear campaign, send me an email, unlivingthelie@gmail.com. Find me on Instagram. Find me on TikTok. Connect with me, message me. Message me on Instagram is the easiest, or email me. But Instagram is the easiest because I get a lot of emails and things can get lost in there. But you're not alone. The truth will set you free. The truth cannot be hidden. They can try with their mouth and their narratives, but words, they can't back up their words with any evidence. Because it's all lies. It's a house of cards that will come crashing down. And even though they don't get tired of the smear, eventually they're going to be exposed to people and you're going to move on with your life. You're going to make new friends. You're going to work on yourself, finish healing, but seek help if you need help and seek support if you need support. And you're not alone. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this podcast. You guys know where to find me. So I look forward to talking to you all again. And thank you. Thank you so much for listening. And we will talk soon.